And sticking with the decision you make. I feel like if you are the person you are, whatever that may be, a shy person or an outspoken person, be okay within that.
Yeah. And on this episode of the Believers Club, we're talking to you about confidence. This episode was a topic idea that was brought to us by Vesh. Vesh, we're so happy that you gave us some feedback and that you let us know that you wanted to talk about our journeys with confidence and how to become more confident. It's a lesson that we're learning still. I think your confidence is going to get tested throughout your life. And there's
Yeah.
going to be moments that even the most confident person is not confident.
Yeah.
You could be Rihanna and be intimidated against
Someone else. Yeah.
fucking Celine Dion.
Whoever. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's an ongoing thing, but I do think that there comes a threshold where we are either very insecure or at least confident enough to get through life, and we can build upon our confidence all the time. So let's get into it.
It's a continuous work. I feel like even us being on camera, that was not a choice that we wanted to be audio only, and the fact that we had to, in the pandemic, switch it up and come on video like this. Like, I do makeup and she's always dolled up on her page as well, and just like to put ourselves
I used to be
put ourselves rawly out there. Now me too. Like, I feel like it's the more you practice anything, like they say, including your confidence, the better you get at it. And we're in our 30s. We just entered the 30s, and we are still working through it. But I feel like we're on that journey, and you pretty much realize that it's truly on the choices you make that lead you to be confident. I apply the choices thing to everything. Like this whole year, this pandemic has been about choices. You've either made a choice to let that just take you out or push you to where you are now. And it's a journey, it's a process. And I think as humans, we need to be okay with that. We need to be okay with not being confident all the time, because that's the process. And it's okay to feel insecure, because hopefully through that insecurity, you're going to learn why that's coming up. And you actually end up doing a deeper dive. And I think there is no better time than now to do that.
Yeah, I totally 100% agree. And Beige, you asked in the comment section to talk about our journeys with confidence. I can go first, Estrina. Do you want to go?
Go ahead. Go ahead, yeah.
I'll take you through it in the most Coles Notes way that I can. As a kid, from my earliest memory, from what I was told, is I was a very confident child. I was the child who I would get in trouble for something and be like, and I was constantly questioning authority. And I don't know if you want to call that confidence or kind of call that like a bratty child, but I just remember as a child feeling like, no, like I have a right to these things. I have a right to play with who I want to play with, to do what I want. And so I remember, though, as we get older, like sometimes that stuff gets taken out of you. And I lost that for so many years because I was introduced to other kids, and other kids will really just beat you down for being a confident kid. And I started to become very insecure as a child. And so I went through life really spending time alone a lot. I turned into the observer child. I turned into the child that thought if I was to do or say anything that made me stand out, I would be bullied. And so I was already bullied for standing out by the way I looked. I was taller than all the other kids in my grade. I was a colored kid. I went to a predominantly white school, and I was already standing out. And it was just one of those things where if I was to then add confidence to that, I look at other girls or other students that were so confident, and I would admire them so much, but I didn't have that within me anymore. Until I got to high school, and I started to find confidence through fashion, music, culture, friends, and I started to associate my worth with those things, which when I look back was fake confidence. but it served me for those years.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going into high school and being like, I have access to makeup now. I have, my puberty had fully kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
I was like talking to boys. I was wearing all the latest, like what I thought was trendy stuff, like all those things. And I thought I was coloring my hair, colored contacts, 2000s babies. That was confidence to me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Confidence to me as a female in high school was how many guys are giving me attention.
The looks.
Oh, it's the worst. And what I would do with that attention, I never really like was that girl that got attention from guys and then just did anything with it. But I loved the fact that I was getting it.
Mm-hmm.
That put a pep in my step.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember carrying that with me into university, and boom, it started all over again. My confidence got checked. Everything went out the window, and I got into relationships with men and pretty much handed my confidence over to them and became the biggest doormat I could have, because take the fashion away, take the everything that you associate your confidence with, because you get into college and university, everybody's at that standard now.
I have a thought before you continue. Yeah. You think you being confident in high school, but not approaching or letting the men approach you and actually say yes at that time, compared to when you went to college and became more insecure and started giving, you think it would have made a difference if you had actually maybe dated in high school and while you were confident, and it would have turned out a different?
Possibly.
Yeah.
And that's a good point, because I had one relationship in high school, and it was great, it was fine, but I feel like growing up as South Asians, we're not told that we can really interact with the opposite sex, even as friends.
It's different now. It's gotten a little bit better. But
I think what would have helped my confidence was if I was allowed to be friends with boys in elementary school and high school. Yeah. I grew up thinking, I remember being invited to a boys' birthday party in like grade 3, and I was like, I can't come. You're a boy. Like, I can't go. And it sucked, because growing up in a school where it's all Caucasian white people, they're friends with everybody.
There's no difference.
And for me, I was like, I'm not allowed to be friends with these people. And so going through high school, I was like, I can't be friends with y'all. The only relationship that happens between man and woman is when you guys decide to get married.
Yeah.
That was in my head. So traditional. And so then what happened was I met guys in university, and then I started dating, and I didn't know how to interact with them, man. So the second that somebody was like, I like you, and I knew that I was at the age where I was allowed to start dating, I was like, you like me, I can date now. And I wasn't really paying attention to the fact of whether I liked them back, because we're not taught that that's necessarily important. And so my confidence was all about whether they liked me. And when you start a relationship like that, that becomes how your relationship pans out. It's all about them. And I suffered from that, and I would get out of these relationships and then enter back into them. So my confidence was always at play.
Getting tested.
And tested. And you know what I did? The second my confidence would go down the drain, I'd go out and I would party. I would go out, I'd drink, I'd party, I'd get the nicest fucking BB dress or Marciano dress. I still have them in my closet. And I would look fly as hell. And I would go back to doing what I knew how to do, is to just look cool. Right? And it would feed the ego. But the ego is just temporary confidence. Right?
Just for the night.
It's for the night. Just for the fucking weekend, right? And what happens is, because we get so obsessed with that weekend warrior confidence, started taking that into Wednesday nights at the pub, Thursday nights at the club, and the weekends turned into weekdays. And it wasn't because I was wanting to party, but it's because I was wanting that dose of confidence that came from partying, going out twisted, right? Now,
But so real. Real. All of us do this.
A big relationship of mine ended in 2015. I was in this relationship for 5 years, and it was toxic. Got out of it in 2015, And from then to now, I have surpassed what I thought I could in confidence.
Best decision she ever made was to choose herself in that moment.
And it's been 6 years of healing and growing and understanding and coaching and getting to the root and understanding that the person or people that I dated were not even a smidge of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
My parents are not part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
It all came down to the way that life was supposed to pan out so I could figure out my lessons and the choices that I would make, right?
And that's a positive way of looking at it. You could blame everybody around you, or you could just pick up the pieces and learn from what's happened.
But that's the thing about confidence is when you truly grow into confidence, you look at other people and you go, I'm accountable. And you can say that you're accountable and responsible without feeling like shit about it.
Mm-hmm.
I can full on sit here and say, I'm responsible for all the decisions, choices, and actions and not worry about that feeling of being small. I actually feel bigger by owning that. And I think that's confidence. Yeah. So now when I go into any sort of situation, it's from an actual place of checking in with myself. Nothing external, but everything internal. And I think when you can have conversations with yourself and figure out what you want to do, I think that to me is confidence.
I've said it before. I feel like having a conversation with yourself, I've had many, and I truly believe, I know there's bigger, higher power, there's gods, there's everything out there, there's a universe, but I truly feel you talking to yourself and giving yourself feedback on what the fuck you're doing is what a creator is for you. You are your own God in that sense, where that you gotta check yourself, because we know when we fuck up. We know the moment it comes out of our mouth. We know it. Anytime we feel, that did something to me, I'm not confident anymore, or that triggered my insecurity, we know it. We are fully aware. We don't talk about it. We don't bring it up. We'll pretend like it's not there, but it comes up. And I feel, it's back to, it's a process. Confidence is such a journey, and literally what you spoke from the beginning is very related. Like I could relate to most of that pretty much. Same thing. Like I grew up, I was very free and just ran all over the village because I lived in India, I've mentioned many times. And I used to be that kid that was, I was from Canada. So I was that kid, they're out of town, out of the country. So I was always that cool kid, and people, like the kids, always wanted to play with me. And I loved being, in a sense, center of attention, because it fed.
Yes.
Not at that point, it was an ego because I was a child. I just enjoyed, I don't know what you would call it, but I enjoyed the attention.
You can say you enjoyed the attention, yeah.
I enjoyed the attention, and it made me do more fun things. And then the abuse, I feel, changed, because when I hit into my teens, the abuse kind of like took over, and I like started questioning and applying that to everything. I had many crushes, checked out men, but I was so insecure that I feel like I never used to get checked out. I was never approached, because I wouldn't even give a vibe of that. Here and there maybe, but like from I would say the age of 10 till 15, 16, it was, so 6 years, I was very not figured out in my head. I was really fucked up all over the place. My confidence wasn't there because I moved from another country, and I was literally a freshie because I didn't know the language. I got thrown into grade 8.
Remember meeting Serena when she came here?
I was a desi kid.
Okay, she was a desi kid wearing hoop earrings.
I was a very trendy
makeup, trendy ass desi kid, and I was like,
I lived with 2 of my cousins, so they helped.
She was up on all the music. She was like, "What are you listening to? I'm listening to Tyrese."
You know what happened? You know why? I feel like I was trying to catch up. I was trying to catch up. I was trying to catch up on life, to like catch up with everybody.
Like the coolest friends ever.
I could meet people and like be I could feel confident in a sense, because I was trying to be like, okay, I know everything, then that way if people, I can say it, and that will feed my ego, and then
when I met
go
Serena,
down a circle of
was
that.
at the Holly Elementary May Day fair or whatever.
May Day fair, yeah.
And this girl,
we were 13, 12, 13.
I was still in grade 7,
yeah.
but my friends from elementary school had all gone into grade 8.
Yeah.
Met this gem of a person.
She was going to say bitch, but it's okay in a good way.
I was going to say person, but then I said gem. Okay. Brought her to this May Day parade that happens at the end of the year. And I'm like, who are all of my friends hanging out with? Who's this new brown girl? Did she come from Hawthorne?
Dark ass.
Did she come from Ladner Elementary? What elementary school did she come from? And back then we didn't have social media, so it's not like they were posting pictures hanging out.
Yeah.
They just fucking brought her and that was it.
Yeah. That's how you met.
And we were just, boom.
Yeah. We were
friends. Yeah. And she was confident and she was like, yeah, bitch, I took all your friends. And like it, and I was just in love with her the moment I saw her.
That's so funny. Yeah, I can't believe it. That like, but yeah, even though like she said, I may have showed that I was really confident, but internally it was a lot of battles. Even though I was young, the mind wasn't developed. I didn't know a lot about life, but I knew what I had gone through. It was going to be part of my life, and I need to figure it out and let that not be the leader of my life. And I let that shit lead for damn near a decade, and until mid-20s. It was a mid-20s. Like, first thing was I moved out. I was put in a position. My mom didn't want me to bring dogs home. I wanted to get dogs, and I literally just said, okay, well, I'm moving out, and it happened so quick, and I haven't looked back since it. But that changed my life. That made me confront all my shit, my anger, my ego, my pride, my wrongs, my rights, everything. And I've been checking them now, about to be 32. And that's 7 years of just continuously working on it. And I'm still working on it. And that's what you got to know about confidence. I feel like you're never going to be 100%. The top of the top, there's always going to be something that's going to kind of put some fear and make you doubt. But I feel like right there is where you're gonna have to realize that that's where you come in and do what you got to do to bring that confidence back.
Confidence, I think, is one of those things where I've made a post about a while ago. When people ask, how are you doing? And we say, I'm good. And what happens is, one, we tell ourselves that we're just okay. And then we start to live that lie. And the second thing is, what if you're doing really well and you don't want to tell people that because you're afraid of coming across, or you don't want to hurt them because maybe they're not doing so well? When we talk about confidence, I think confidence truly means being yourself.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing okay and whether you're doing absolutely amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
Let's talk about that, Serena. Have you ever felt like if you're at the top of your game, let's say you're at the top of your game, and your friend or whoever you're talking to is not at the top of their game, do you still share that you're successful and you're doing great, or are you afraid that you're going to hurt them, or do you take your shine down a little bit?
7 years ago, I would have tamed it down. I would have taken my shine down. I wouldn't have.
You would have met them where they're at.
I would have met them. I wouldn't have flaunted it. Not flaunted it in a bad way, but just actually acknowledge what I've accomplished. Now, sitting here, gone through the journey I have gone through, I'm gonna live my motherfucking truth. I'm not scared to be not liked.
Ooh, yes.
And that's where my confidence is right now. I'm so okay with not being liked.
I'm okay with not being liked, yeah.
Because I like myself, firstly. And I'm always going to work on that. I'm going to continue to grow the love for myself before I think about how is this gonna affect somebody else.
Yeah.
Especially when your intention is nowhere near harming another person. If it's something you're doing for yourself, you have a business that's booming, you're doing something for yourself, you want to boast about it, you should be able to do that, because that's not going to kill nobody.
Yes.
It's not hurting anybody. Your intention isn't in the wrong place. And if that person actually tames it down or pushes back, that's actually more on them than it is on you.
Yeah.
And that's probably not even the right person to keep around. And in the long run, you will realize that, because that's a motherfucking fact. You will lose people that aren't going to match your energy.
And you know what? In the beginning, you're not going to be okay with losing them. You may be you will do everything to hold on to them, even if it is dumbing down your success or putting your shit aside. You will do everything to keep them. But I'll tell you, eventually that stuff's not going to fade. And knowing that you listeners are strong people, you guys aren't going to stand for that for too long, maybe a couple of years at max, but that stuff's going to varnish out. I'll tell you, let me play devil's advocate for a second. Let's say I'm the friend that's in my depression. I'm not doing well. And my friend comes to me and says, well, I'm killing it and I'm doing X, Y, and Z. Okay. There's two scenarios here.
Yeah.
If I am now kind of feeling like shit about myself, right? And telling you that, and I'm not happy for your success, it could be one, because maybe I feel like you're not there for me. Maybe because, let me tell you, either somebody is actually truly jealous of your success, and that's a shitty person and you need to put that away, or you could get so caught up in your success that you forget to actually be a friend to people that need your support in any given time. Okay. That is one situation that I will talk about, because I've been on both ends of the spectrum, where I'm like, I'm so busy focusing on all these great things, but I actually forget that sometimes, like, my friends are supportive of me and there for me, but sometimes I'm not paying attention to maybe what they're going through in their life. And I've also been the friend who on the receiving end is going through some hard times in my life. And I've been so grateful for friends that are doing really well and take the time to still be there for me, and I can support them back. Do you know what I'm saying? So just maybe take an audit if that situation is happening, because a couple of people have brought that up, of wanting to dumb down their success when they're talking to their friends. Don't dumb down your success by any means possible. Do not dumb down or scale back. But if your friend is going through some tough stuff, also remember to share what your successes are and to be there for them and ask them if they need support.
Yeah, and exactly. Two things could be right. You know what I mean? So it's like, you as a friend, hopefully you're fully aware, if you're going to a friend who may be going through their own turmoil, that you're not just going there to dump a bunch of shit on them. And you're not going there just be like, look at me, I'm doing so well. How are you? That plays back to, then you're not a good friend either. Then you need help. You know, yes, we're talking about you should be able to talk about your successes, but you gotta make sure there's a time and a place and the right people and the right energy for that. You don't, you probably shouldn't take it to somebody that is already, you know, dealing with something or hasn't been there for you, and you just go to them. That means they're not already interested, or they're already busy, that they're not, that's not even what they're thinking about. It's more of your radar than it is somebody else's. And again, last thing I'll say on this from my part, I feel like nobody owes it other than yourself. Nobody owes you nothing. No one's gonna clap for you if you don't fucking clap for yourself. And the sooner you start doing that, the sooner you'll actually start seeing other people join the train and actually start clapping. And it may not be your people's, but it will be people that are clapping for you. Yes. And if you're lucky, you'll have people that are clapping for you when you're not clapping for yourself to remind you. Yeah. And if you don't, that's why we're here. Yeah. We're always clapping for you. If the whole purpose is like, we believe that you can do it. And if you're missing the confidence sometimes, just know that, like, we believe that you can actually achieve anything that you want. Yeah. And if you're going to a friend and saying, hey, I'm doing really, really well, I'm succeeding in these ways, their answer to that, if you actually have a friendship where you know you're supporting each other, if their answer to that is,
well, I don't give a shit, or I feel shitty now because I'm not doing so well. Well, good for you. Like if it's that kind of attitude, that's not your tribe. That's not your people. And you move on from that. And if you do lose those friends, you lose those friends. I promise you. There are people going to where you're going that are looking for friendships that can support them. I promise you, anybody
going through exactly what you're going through.
Anybody that is a happy person, that is building something for themselves, is never gonna tear you down. Sisters, brothers, they're never gonna tear you down if they are on the same journey.
Yes.
Like they say, birds that flock together, birds of a feather flock together.
I suck at those.
Right? Okay. So if you're one of those birds that are in a flock that your feathers are different than theirs, that's cool. Like you can move on, you can upgrade, you can always change, but don't ever feel like you have to. And the only reason I'm talking about this is because this has been sent to me from some people that feel like they have too much confidence and they don't know if they're allowed to share that. And you're always allowed to share that.
And I
if
feel
you're
like,
not being cocky, if you're not being arrogant, you're being confident, because cocky and arrogance is not confidence. Confidence, sharing from a whole place and feeling good about it, that's always allowed.
Yeah, and back to the tribe thing, pull out your confidence and attract the tribe you want. Sometimes the people you grow up with, you can grow out of, I was going to say grow out of love with, but like, you know what I mean? You can grow away as well. You can grow apart. Just like you grow up, you can grow apart. And it's okay. It's okay. I
can tell you anything. It's okay.
No, I was gonna say last thing I'll say. I'm not even gonna say that. But I used to be the person that like I can't make new friends. I'm gonna keep my tribe close and all balled up, and these are my people. I don't talk to half of those motherfuckers anymore, and it's but I'm on a journey and I'm doing so much work. And it's been so good and freeing. And I just have the people that actually put in the effort to be in my life and have always put in a consistent effort. Because I had to do an audit of who actually was always there, who showed up for me, who was consistently there that now gets to share or hear the fruits of my labor. So 100%. It's okay for you to start a new tribe or evolve into a new tribe, because you will find the right people if you go look for them.
Or to put space. Because here's the thing, because I've been in situations where I've looked at friends and I'm so blessed to say that I've got amazing ones, but most of us have all grown together. A couple have fallen off, and that's fine. But then there's also those friendships where you're like, the thing is, you're not necessarily taking anything away from my life. You're not adding so much to my life. Yeah.
You're just in the center.
Where do I put this friendship? Like there are moments where I'm like, you're adding certain value to my life and I love this. You're allowed to put space there. You're allowed to like keep it moving and match people's energy with what they're able to provide you, and you can still be yourself and shine on. You know, they say like, I want my partners in crime, I want partners in shine. Right. And you gotta shine before you can have other people that are killing it with you. So confidence, if I could chalk it down to like 3 ways or 4 ways, I don't know if I can necessarily, because it's an experiential thing. It's a getting to know yourself thing.
And what you've gone through and what your life, why you do what you do.
I could easily say like, we'll start journaling it and like track your thoughts or do this, that, and the other. But I don't think that shit's never worked for me. I've always been an introspective person. So I've always needed the time to process the thought and then talk it out and then plan my next move. But figure out what works for you in terms of getting to know yourself. There isn't a recipe for confidence, but I think the main ingredient, if I was to say there is one, is really getting to know yourself. As cheesy and as basic as that sounds, it's not a basic experience.
No, because you're going to always be doing that. You're going to consistently get to know yourself.
But catch yourself. Next time somebody asks you a question, whether it's how are you doing, and you figure out how you're answering that question.
Yeah.
And then figure out where that came from. That's the best thing I can say.
Yeah. And another thing you could do that has helped me, I feel like, get to where I am, YouTube is amazing when it comes to watching content.
Yes.
So evolve yourself around the content that will actually push you to believe in all the things that you don't believe in right now.
I mean, we drop a video every Wednesday.
Exactly. So Believers Club is always here.
Always here.
But there's so much content that if you don't get it from the people around you, go search it, go listen to it, go listen to people that have been doing it for decades, and they're literally giving you the formula to happiness
and
just figuring yourself out.
Teach it back. You know what? I will say this, and I will own this. I started doing that. I was researching. I was on YouTube listening to the people in this world that I admire the most. Mm-hmm. And I took their confidence and then I used it. Mm-hmm. And then what I did was I started to become it, and I started to learn from it, and then I started to teach it. I started to teach it around me by being an example of it first. And I started to notice my friends catch fire to that. Mm-hmm. There's people that, like, I was on fire at one point and people were catching the flames, and they were either coming and they were adding to the fuel, and like we were all just fucking bunch of confident people running around. And there were some people that got burnt by the flame, and they were like, no. And that's all right. Yeah. Your friends, the people around you might actually grow into their confidence, but it's always that one person that kind of starts that, like, changes the flow. Mm-hmm. So that could be the answer too.
Yeah. Be the change you want to see in yourself and around you. And again, you owe it to yourself. It's a process, and you owe it to yourself to always pick yourself.
And you'll keep getting tested, and it's one of those things you'll keep growing from. Yeah. I'm still not at the place confidence-wise where I wanted to be. Yeah. But if you were to tell me that I was going to make a YouTube video and a channel one day, I'd be like,
but no makeup on,
with just some mascara, fucking, you would be nuts.
Lying.
You'd be on drugs. But I remember the first time, and if anybody watching is wanting to start getting onto social media and turning the camera on, there is no confidence builder that's like tests you more than that. Mm-hmm. So many of us have a lot we want to say, and we're scared to press the record button and see ourselves on screen and hit post. Yeah. I used to ask Serena this. I used to grab my phone and I would go to Instagram and I would hit record, and then I would delete. And then it came to a point, and I would get all my makeup done. I'd go to Serena's house, but listen, I'm trying to tag Dennis Rodman in a video later, so can you do my makeup? Yeah. And it was just absurd that this one 40-second clip would take up my whole day, because I needed to look the right way and the right lighting and say the right words. How many times did I say And to the point where I was like, fuck it. Yeah. Record and straight. Record, upload. Yeah. And I'm telling you, it gets better.
It gets better. Yeah.
Just chip away at your confidence issues, and you'll start to see that underneath that is you. Yeah. Ready to shine.
Yeah. And if you had this question come up, that means you're on the journey.
Perfectly said.
So make sure you guys tune in every Wednesday. Hopefully you guys found today's episode useful, and thank you again for sending this idea, because we hadn't gotten into it. So this was amazing.
Thanks, Fish. Take care. Bye.